Respected viewers, welcome back from the break. So we are talking about the hadith, this waqi'ah, this event when a questioner came. This was Jibreel alayhi salam who asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam about these different things, and he told him. And then if we were seeing this hadith, let's see its background. This hadith at the time, Imam al-Muslim says that at the time, at the end of his life, Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Abi Hafs Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was told that a sect had come out of Syria over there. It was a sect over there, but they were called Al-Qadariyat, and they denied fate. They said that fate, there is no fate, there is no qadar. So then, upon hearing this, Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrated this hadith. Now, this hadith tells us a lot of things. This tells us about these things which we have heard: qadar, ihsan, iman, Islam, and also tells about the adab of seeking knowledge, and about knowledge and questioning, and how important is questioning. Now, to find this out, first of all, it also tells us we should be clean and we should wear clean clothes. We should sit to the speaker very attentively. We should listen it very attentively. And if we have confused about something, like one day I was confused about something and I asked it. So, for example, I have confused about, that's for example, what is, if 5 plus 5 is 10, why isn't it 11? So that's, that's stupid. It's just not a good meaning. But I mean, yes, it is. I mean that we should ask questions. We should ask questions mostly that this is why. If you are confused about something, you should ask questions that this is this and this is this. So if it isn't this, why it should be this? So then we should ask these questions, because like it said, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Innama shifa'u al-sawal," and indeed the cure of ignorance is, of course, behold, it is the question. Questioning is always the cure of illness. It is always the cure of ignorance. We should always ask questions to clarify or understanding about something. So this also teaches us one very good thing. Now it also tells us about how to listen attentively in the speaker, and this has been passed through the form of Jibreel alayhi salam, as it is said in the end of the hadith, فَإِنَّهُ جِبْرِيلٌ آتَاكُمْ يُعَلِّمُكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. This is the same thing which is said in the end of the hadith. Jibreel comes to teach teach your deen. So this is the lesson we are learning over here. So if we see, this is telling us about this, the attentiveness and about questioning. How questioning is very important, and we should always question. That can clarify our knowledge, clarify our details, that can make us to clarify our knowledge, it can clarify our misconceptions. If we are having a misconception about something, or we have doubt upon something, we should ask questions as much as possible too, and we should also ask valuable questions that can give us value, which can clarify our knowledge, make our knowledge more better, more wide, more broad, and more widespread. And also in the hadith, this is a perfect example of it. Now again, in this hadith, there have been different matters which are being talked about, and we should have a very good, we should be clearly about that. We should see this, we should explain this a little bit more. If we see, the first matter is Islam. So if we see, everybody has his own point of view, but if we consult this hadith, we can find that Islam is easily just like Bunya al-Islamu ala khams. It is that you believe in, that is that you witness, you bear witness, that you mean the 5 pillars of Islam, the Bunya al-Islamu ala khams, that you witness that there is no God except Allah, you establish the prayers, you give zakat, you fast in Ramadan, and if you afford it, if you have and you can afford it, you can do Hajj. If you have the capacity, in istata'ta ilayhi sabila. Now we also talk about Iman. In this, we also have there's also a discussion about faith in this hadith, and this is another important thing. These two things about the definition of Islam and faith, they are questions which are very big asked. They are already asked, and we should really have a knowledge about these questions. So if we see, that's like we seen over here, Iman. Now, Iman is that we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we believe in His angels, we believe in His books, all the books which have been sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in the day of judgment, and we believe that all the messengers were there, all the Rasulullah, all the messenger Rasulihi, they're all there. So this is what is Iman. So if you see, they're easily defined in this hadith. Now, there's been a discussion also about ihsan. Now, ihsan, what is ihsan? Ihsan is excellence, to make betterment in something. To something better is there, we can even make it more better. Ihsan, that is ihsan. And indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed excellence upon everything, just like it is said in another hadith. This is also in Imam Nawawi's collection, Arba'in Nawawi. Inna Allah kataba al-ihsanu ala kulli shay. فإذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلة وإذا ذبحتم فأحسنوا الذبح. It is said that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed excellence about everything, as we see about zabha, that if you're slaughtering, then slaughter with a good intention, then excellent, make it excellent, make the slaughter excellent. And then let everybody sharpen his knife, shafratahu, وَالْجُرِحْ زَبِيهَتَهُ, and let his animal, the slaughtered animal, die comfortably. Just like it said in this example, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So this is ihsan, excellence. And now another example is given, أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. Of course we are doing a good deed, we are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as is given, but we should make it even more good, even more better, to make it even more devoted, more firm, more steadfast, like we intend that it is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do namaz, for example, and then we should be totally steadfast. We should not care about anything else. We should leave everything, just like it said in Surah Jumu'ah. That is in the context of Salat al-Jumu'ah, but it is also giving a good meaning. Verse number 9, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu iza nudiya lis-salati min yawmil jumu'ati fas'au ila zikrillahi wa dharul bay'. Come to the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, come to the state of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and leave all sorts of business, we can say over here, and leave all sorts of everything. At that time, the Muslims were diverted, as said again in the next part, the latter part of Surah Jumu'ah, that they used to beat the drum, tabur, and it was always, diverting everybody, and they would leave you alone. So this is the same thing. We should always wazarul bay, zalikum khairul lakum min kuntum ta'lamun. So now, if we see, this has been about ihsan, and now about qadar. Now see, there has been a lot of misconceptions about qadar. There has been a lot about qadar. This hadith was actually narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar just about qadar. So there have been a lot of misconceptions. This is a very important topic, and yes, I just have to add a little short note about it, and then we'll see. So if we see, most people believe that, qadar, it is written in Lawh Mahfuz. Yes, it is written in Lawh Mahfuz, and Allah makes them to do everything. But that is wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not compel somebody to do anything. For example, if somebody is killing somebody, He does not compel that person to kill that person. Then why is the day of judgment there? Why will he be thrown into Jahannam? He knows what they are going to do. He intends what he's going to do, and at last he gives the permission. The laws of science, the laws of physics, he gives the permission. So if there was, he didn't give any laws, there was no gravity, nothing. So if then we wouldn't do any good deed, we wouldn't do any bad deed. As we know, on the Yawm Qiyamah, all the laws, everything, वो सारी चली जाएगी. They will all go away. There will be no gravity, as I said. Mountains will be like fluffed up wool. So as I said in Surah Qariya, and people will be dispersed like moths. So this is giving one idea about the Yawm Qiyamah. And now we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what we are going to do. If we are going to do something, He knows what we are going to do. For example, He knows what I am going to speak next. So that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And He gives us the permission finally to happen, because He can't even let somebody to do something if He wants to. And He's just intending, He just knows what we are going to do. He does not compel anybody to do anything. We have been given the free will, and we can do anything. So that is the thing which is given. And yes, we should be steadfast to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's again said in hadith number 20, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحْ فَاسْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. If you have no shame, then do anything you want. If you have no shame, if you don't fear anything, do whatever you want. So we should always fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are gonna be recompensed on the day of recompense. We are gonna be recompensed on the day of judgment. So if I said, now it is again said in Surah Hadid, ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب نبراها إن على الله يسير إن ذلك على الله يسير إن ذلك على الله يسير. There is no calamity, nothing, no sorrow, nothing, no destruction is going to fall upon you in the earth except that we make it. We give the permission for it to happen. Just like, as I said, there's law. So you give it the permission to happen. إِلَّا فِي كِتَابًا نَبَرَاهَا إِنَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرٌ. This is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can enter the sickness is qadar. And it is said in another hadith, وَإِنِ اجْتَمَعُوا عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ بِشَيْءٍ لَمْ يَنْفَعُوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ لَكَ. And رُفِعَتِ الْأَقْلَامُ وَجَفَّتِ الصُّحُفُ. That if somebody gathers, every ummah, the whole ummah gathers to benefit you, they will not benefit you unless Allah permits them to benefit you. رُفِعَتِ الْأَقْلَامُ means the pens have been lifted, وَجَفَّتِ الصُّحُفُ, and the pages have been dried. So now if we see, this has been a very hadith. This hadith has explained us in this today in this episode of Payare Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki pyari baatein. We discussed this hadith about what is the adab, the ethics of seeking something, of seeking knowledge, how questioning is inna shifa'ali sawal, how about different things we learned about different topics, Islam, Iman, Ihsan and Qadr. We discussed it word by word, we discussed it and we explained it. We said depth by depth, we got it right, digged in deep about the subjects. So today we did this, and this was a really lovely time I had with you. So this is all for today, and we will meet in Payare Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki pyari baatein, episode 4, inshallah. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He puts us on the Sirati Mustaqim. He brings us min az-zulumati ila an-nur, as it is said in Surah Talaq, min az-zulumati ila an-nur. And He also gives us Jannat al-Firdaus. He also makes us from the Sabiqun, as it said, was-Sabiqun as-Sabiqun ulaika al-Muqarrabun. He makes us from the Muqarrabun, those who are closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as it is said again, ulaika al-Muqarrabun. He makes us in Jannatin Na'im, and He makes us from those people who are closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رَبَّنَا أَتْمِمْ لَنَا نُورَنَا وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ رَبَّنَا لَا تَجْعَلْنَا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ رَبَّنَا إِلَيْكَ تَوَكَّلْنَا وَإِلَيْكَ أَنَبْنَا وَإِلَيْكَ الْمَصِيرُ. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.